Welcome to another OSU football update. I'm Barry Tramel along with OSU writer Gina Mizell. And Gina, we're counting down to the start of college football season. August 31st down in Houston, the Cowboys open against Mississippi State. We've got a story this week on an unheralded Cowboy, offensive lineman Parker Graham. Joe Wickline this week really talking up his veteran offensive lineman. Tell us a little bit about Parker Graham.
Yeah, Joe Wickline basically said that he's one of the best linemen in the Big 12, and if there is a better one, then he hasn't really seen one. So again, for a program that's had a lot of great offensive line talent come out in the past few years, you look at someone like Lane Taylor or Levy Edcock or Grant Garner, Russell Okung, even going back a few years. Parker Graham is kind of now the anchor of that unit. It's a unit that is replacing Lane Taylor, it's replacing center Evan Epstein. So Parker Graham has kind of moved into that leadership role, and I think how you can best define his strengths or how he most helps this team is his versatility. He can play any position on the offensive line, even center, a place that he tried a little bit as a freshman, and he said it didn't go so well, so maybe he can't play center, but can play both tackle spots. He's a guy who stepped in for Michael Bowie last year when he was dismissed from the team. He slid in there at left tackle. This year it sounds like he's going to play some more guard, but he can play on the right side, he can play on the left side, he can basically play anywhere that Joe Wickline wants, so that's extremely valuable with the way that he likes to substitute and mix and match and find the right combination.
Who else on this OSU roster is a really good player, but maybe somebody we don't focus on? Who else is under the radar?
Yeah, I'll go on the defensive side of the ball, and I'll start with Caleb Levy, middle linebacker. Again, has started since his sophomore year, and he's not a flashy guy. He doesn't make the wow plays, but he just really commands the middle of that defense for the Cowboys, and he's a guy that just kind of does his thing, and yeah, doesn't really get a lot of attention when a guy like Sean Lewis does get a lot of attention, gets preseason All Big 12 honors, or a guy like Alex Elkins last year and the year before was such a big hitter and such a kind of a very savvy guy out there. So I'll start with him, and then I've mentioned this before, but Datewan Lowe in that secondary is a guy that just is always solid. Again, it started since his sophomore year in a secondary that was really depleted last year, that took a lot of heat. Nobody was ever bashing Datewan Lowe because he went out there and did his thing and it was able to, he's a big hitter, he does well against the run, but he's also underrated as far as his speed is concerned and playing the pass. So I would say those two guys are some underrated Cowboys that they're going to need this year if they want this defense to improve.
Great stuff. Gina, on August 31st, we get our first look this season at those unheralded Cowboys. Stay tuned for further OSU football coverage here on News OK and every day in the Oklahoman.